Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Welcome back to the Thought Leader Thursday. My name is Suzanne Castle. Each and every time we're together, in about 20 minutes or so, you get to meet a thought leader who is really rocking and rolling this world in amazing ways. Today is no exception. I can't wait for you to meet the bubbly, the amazing Carol. But before we go there, I'm throwing it to you, Garrett. I want to know, because we're going to be talking to an amazing leader who helps uplift other leaders. Who is a leader in your world that you follow that we might or might not know?
You mentioned that beforehand, and I was quickly trying to think who should I mention here? I mean, there's the ones you grow up with, your parents, obviously. But I was thinking so what's one thing? Okay, I like watching movies. Maybe a director I like. I kind of went that route. Right. I was thinking Stanley Kubrick comes to mind because everyone that's worked with him has such, I would say, emotional opinions on him. He was either the best or the worst, and I mean, he made those movies, so he did something. Right. So I guess that would probably want to mention him, or some other directors I like now, like Paul Thomas Anderson, or some of these guys that can kind of wrangle an entire crew together to create one product. Right. And it all goes down into that little 2-hour segment, months and months and hours and sometimes years of people's lives into this 2-hour segment.
Right. Oh, I think that's great. And I think when we think about leaders, we all something different does come to mind. And I think that's what's so great about people that do empower other leaders in the world, which brings me to our thought leader that is here among us today, the lovely, the amazing, the international best-selling author, award-winning speaker, business leadership coach for giant companies from American Express to AT&T and so much more, Carol Boston. Now, Carol is known as the Queen of Reframe, and don't worry, we're going to find out more about what that means. But what Carol does is really help people understand that any challenge that you have actually works in your favor to help you double or even triple your income in record time. She is such a sought after business coach. I can't believe that she's here with us today. She really is a superstar, and she brings the discipline of being a professional athlete in one part of her life, and then a savvy 27 years of amazing leadership experience as a sales expert for companies, like AT&T and Sprint and Paychecks to Bear, the Fortune amazing 100 companies. This was their leadership guru that she was in their midst, rocking and rolling with them. Her clients tend to say that she's relentless, which I love. I'm sure that's that athlete inside of her. She's relentless in support because she loves to support her clients to get the results that they want, not necessarily what she thinks that they want or that she thinks that they need. Carol is a genius at helping female business owners know their value, own their power, and then advocate for themselves so that they rise up to become the lioness leaders that they were created to be. And I love saying lioness leader. Carol, welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
You are such a ball of energy. And I have to tell you, we have not ever met physically in the same space. We see each other almost every week, and the energy that you just bring across the screen in another group that we're in is so infectious to me. You just have this amazing way of bubbling up and helping people. Your spirit and your heart of service is so huge. And I have to say, I'm a little jealous of you because you have this incredible show. It's not the Thought Leader Thursday, but you have Cocktails with Carol, and it's pretty fantastic. And I know you uplift people and tell stories while you're also teaching them how to have a cocktail or two. And it's just part of your journey as a reluctant entrepreneur, which I can't even believe that you would call yourself a reluctant entrepreneur, because you do have so much leadership experience from mixing cocktails to standing on huge stages and everything in between. So tell us a little bit about Cocktails with Carol and why you would call yourself reluctant.
Oh my goodness. I started in January, Cocktails with Carol. I wanted to do something that was fun. I wanted to do something where I could weave in business wisdom that was a little bit different. And I wanted to make sure that I was pouring into the people that showed up so I could connect them. There's been a lot of connections on that show. I've gotten clients on that show. And I started the first Wednesday in January. And to be candid with you, before COVID, all of my business was offline.
Right.
To think that I have a show now and I have a Courage to Confidence show and things going on, it's amazing what's happened in less than a year, or a little over a year, actually. So a quick funny story is the third week of January, I went live and I did my show and nobody showed up. And I thought, Beverly said she'd be here. My VA is going to be here. Nobody showed up. So I got off of the live and I was watching the replay and I get a text from Beverly and she says, when are you going live? And I said, I did.
Right. Was done
No,
already.
you did. I said, I did. She goes, not on your page. I said, what? I had to go check. Suzanne, I went live in somebody's challenge group. I don't even know how I did it.
I love this
True
story so much. I love it so much.
True story. I came back the next week. I said, don't worry, guys. Those cocktails were so bad, I poured them down the drain. But, being a reluctant entrepreneur, I was raised up. You go to work, you get a good job, you keep your nose clean, you work hard, and they'll take care of you. And my dad worked for the same company for 40 years.
Wow.
So that was a big challenge. The first time I left a company, it was a big, big challenge for me. So in the summer of 2014, there I was at Paychex, right? 26 years of successful experience, walked the state, sold $70 million in revenue, gotten the awards, and I thought I had it made. I could do it in my sleep. And then I got that phone call. And it said they were cutting my territory by 80%. I'm like, wow. 80%? I've been building this territory for 6.5 years.
Yep.
Well, you didn't have to tell me twice. I thought they were setting me up to fail. A friend of mine, even though I love large corporate structure because I'm a weird salesperson, right? I love structure and I'm a rule follower. Not true for most corporate salespeople.
Right.
A friend of mine gave me an opportunity at a really small company. I went 2 interviews. They doubled my base pay, gave me a director title. I could see the potential.
Wow.
6 weeks into this job, I'm on vacation. I negotiated that up front. And I was doing what I thought at the time was being a good employee. Now, mind you, Suzanne, I don't advocate this for my clients anymore, but I was staying in touch with my boss, the CEO, while I was on vacation until I learned what Maya Angelou said when she said, when we learn better, we do better.
That's right. Yep.
So I get this email asking my opinion on something. I replied right back and I waited because he usually replies right back. And now there we were in beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico, not a cloud in the sky, world's largest hot air balloon festival, had a blast. We came in that evening after dinner and cocktails and ding, there went my phone. Carol Boston, you've got mail. Here's what it said. It said, Carol, comma, that's what you really think? And it had 5 question marks behind it. Then it said, do not come into this office on Monday. When your vacation is over, you're done here.
Wow.
What? I was like, I don't get fired. I've been doing this 27 years. I don't get fired. Are you kidding me? Now, one of the reasons I say I help female business owners advocate for themselves is because back in 2014, I didn't do it for myself.
Right.
Florida is an at-will state. And I just assumed, well, I can get fired for any reason. And I came back and I had an interview the next day. And I interviewed all over this country, sometimes 3 and 4 interviews deep, couldn't get a job. I mean, how ironic, right? I could sell $70 million of business for somebody else and I can't close a deal to get myself a job.
Right.
Now, faith is my foundation and that's where I go. So there I was. Listen, I was completely depleting my 401k. Why is that? Because I was stuck in my jar. My book coming out next year is going to be called You Can't Read the Label When You're Inside a Jar.
That's
and
right.
We're all in a jar, right? All I could see is that I was this buttoned up corporate sales professional. So I said to God in my prayer time, look, you made me. You know I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. You got to help me find a good job. 2 weeks to the day from that prayer, out of the blue, I get an email from a woman that I met one time out of town at a conference. And Suzanne, she gifted me a $3,500 ticket.
Wow.
To go to Los Angeles to study at Guerrilla Business School. So you see, my God has a sense of humor because
Right.
Guerrilla Business School is a foundational school for entrepreneurs.
Right.
So I didn't know what I didn't know, and off I went.
Wow.
And the first thing I learned became the title of my next book. The second thing I learned was empowering questions, and I was amazed at them. And I was determined. Since the May of 2015, I've been mastering empowering questions. And that's how I became known as the Queen of Reframe, is using empowering questions because they help you reframe from focusing on what isn't working. And they open you to possibilities that are outside your jar that you can't see.
Right.
Super, super, super powerful. This is in 2015. Fast forward, you want to be reluctant? Fast forward December 2017, 2.5 years. I had 2 coaching certifications. I was coaching people. What was I doing? I was still holding on to 3 products and services to sell into corporate America.
Right.
I could not get out of my own way.
Yes.
Until I learned that there's a big difference between being committed and being convicted. You see, I thought I was committed, but people decommit every day, don't they? They say, I'm committed to this marriage for life, until the day I'm not.
Right.
But when you're convicted, you will not rest until you get it done. And you understand that your comfort and your convenience and your conviction don't live on the same block. They're not even in the same zip code.
Yep.
So I burned all the ships, got rid of the products and services, and I was all in to coach.
Well, I am so glad that you were all in, because you literally, since I met you, you've been about helping people understand their own leadership, like that nugget that's inside of them. I really, truly believe, I mean, my mentor, my trainer, John Maxwell, will tell you, everyone is a leader. You just have to find what you're leading, right? And you help people do that through empowered questions, turning the tables, helping them understand. And how does that impact that kind of way of looking, you know, what you were just talking about? How does that impact what you teach and coach about personal leadership and how you're choosing to look at the world?
Personal leadership for me is all about personal accountability. And there's power in choice.
Right.
And only when you own that you're choosing can you then make a different choice.
Right.
The very first thing I work with my clients on is clarity, because clarity is power. And most entrepreneurs are caught between the tension between 2 truths. The truth of who they think they are, what their reality shows them from their experience and story they've brought from the past, and the truth of who they were truly created to be.
Yeah.
So that first step is I help them step into who they were truly created to be. And when they own that, you said it earlier, I help them what? Know their value, own their power, and advocate. And when we go through this process, it's resulted in many of them doubling and tripling the income in their business. But when you talk about empowering questions, here's a writer downer for your audience. An empowering question never, ever, ever starts with the word why. Why brings in defensiveness, which brings in the ego, which brings in emotions. And when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. So quick client story. So back in 2018, I had an office and had a client. The first time she came to see me, she's on time. By the 4th time, she was so late, it was ridiculous. So she comes in. I told you I'm the shake your hand, give you a hug girl. Gave her a big hug, sat her down. I said, look, get out your pen and paper. We are not going to miss this coaching opportunity. She kind of looks at me because we don't typically jump in quite like that, but I just didn't want to miss it. And the first thing I had her write down is how I do anything is how I do everything. Now, she didn't like to hear that. So what did she do? What any human being would do. They want to give me a defensive story about why they're late. I said, this isn't about you being late. She said, it's not. And I said, no, this is about where else in your life are you not showing up for you?
Yep.
She went, what? I said, you pay me in advance for my time. I'm not going to give you money back. And I have a list of clients that I schedule of clients that I keep. I'm not going to give you extra time. And I said, write it down. And she looked at me kind of sheepishly, Suzanne, and she goes, is that my homework for the week? I'm like, honey, that's your homework at Aussie. I want it on your refrigerator, on your mirror, on your dashboard, 6 to 8 times a day. Now, here's the caveat about empowering questions. You put them out loud to God in the universe 6 to 8 times a day, and your job is not to figure them out.
Right.
And you cannot be attached to the outcome. So I asked her if she would do that consistently. And she said, yes. Several weeks, couple of months later, we're working on the challenge and her eyes fly wide open. And I'm like, what's up? She goes, that's another place I'm not showing up for me.
Wow.
I said, exactly. And as she began to gain, see, empowering questions cause Oprah aha moments.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
And as she began to gain that awareness, we then took those unhealthy, unproductive habits that she was in, and we replaced them with leadership habits and principles. And we doubled her income in 6 months.
Wow. It's so amazing. I know that you've started a group where you're really pouring into people in this way and really helping them show up differently. And I believe you call your group Limitless Leadership, which try to say that about 10 times because you can't. It's kind of like saying toy boat more than twice. It's hard to say limitless leadership. But what it does represent is really this understanding that you go as far as you can. You can constantly be moving towards something else as a leader when you uncover things about yourself and how you're showing up and where you're not showing up for yourself. So would you tell the audience here a little bit more about what Limit Leadership is and what it's trying to do?
Limitless Leadership, we're going to turn it into an academy. It's going to be a training academy, 7 steps to an unstoppable business. And in those 7 steps, first thing you're going to learn is getting clear on who you were created to be. You're going to become the lioness leader that you were created to be. You're going to learn about really, truly how to craft empowering questions from the position of an empowered statement, which has an embedded presupposition. We're going to create through empowering questions. What else is possible? Here's a writer down there. Most powerful of all empowering questions. What else is possible?
Yes.
You're going to learn to plan. You're going to learn to plan for profit. How many people, they say, these are my revenues, and they go home and they didn't take any money home. So we're going to plan for profit. We're going to create a momentum map. We're going to communicate for influence. And last but not least, we're going to raise your game, how to become a professional athlete in your business. And I love that one. That's one of my favorites.
I love that too.
Each of these tools, I've looked back over the last few years, and that's how I put this together. I started watching what was I actually doing for my clients that worked. And through the group that we're in together and Kristen's help, I was able to put this 7-step system together.
Yeah, it's great. I know that you really do through empowering, I call it possibility thinking, and you really, focus on empowering questions. And I talk about putting your imagination goggles on so that, because what we have in front of us is sometimes all that we see, and all that we see immediately provides limit to us and not limitless opportunities. So I love the idea of this. Okay, Carol, every single person I have on this show, I can't let them go without asking them what their own definition is of what it means to sparkle. So Shazam, there it is, lay down the knowledge. What is your definition of what it means to sparkle?
I will tell you this, that people's purpose will die in the place of their insecurities. So sparkle for me is from the inside out, and it's owning that there's nobody ever created just like you, that God gave you a fingerprint that nobody else has ever had so that you can leave a unique handprint on the world. And your sparkle comes when you're being you. You're not being somebody else, and you're not playing small. You're ready to get on the big stages. You're not hiding your light underneath a bush. And if people tell you your light's too bright, just hand them a pair of shades.
That's right. I love that. Yes, that's absolutely right. I love that definition. And Carol, I love you and how you are showing up for so many people and me. So I just want to thank you for giving us time and energy and cocktails and limitless leadership. And if you want to find out more about how to work with Carol and what she's up to, you can follow her on Facebook. That's where her show is. You can go to carolboston.com and learn more and reach out to me. I'd love to connect you to Carol because she really is amazing and she needs to be in your circle. Before I let you go, I do want to remind you who's coming up next on our show. So the next time that you're checking the Thought Leader Thursday out, we're going to have a branding superstar by the name of Chelsea Marie, and she is quite the diva, and you don't want to miss out. I am Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday.